By now, after a couple of weeks driving around South Wales, I'd arrived in Milford Haven. Milford Haven being a port, lovely place to be, always something happening, 24 hours a day. Here we've got the Angle lifeboat and the St David's lifeboat bringing in a beam trawler, the Piat J, after our engine became disabled south of the Bishops in a bit of a blow. Now here's another lifeboat, a 47-foot Watson, the original Angle lifeboat, powered by twin Fords and now aptly called the Spirit of Angle. The Gerwins kindly offered to take me for a trip down the river so I can have a look around. Now this boat we spotted here is a Norwegian wooden fishing boat that's been laid up in Milford. 6 hours after we saw her here, she was on the bottom. She'd opened up under tow. Well, by now I'd bought a boat, got out of the motorhome and moved in. And so had a family of blue tits who thought my davits were the perfect place to bring up their little family. Well, I got a couple of weeks' work on the engine and getting the boat ready for sea, so that was no problem. So they were busy chattering away above my head whilst I worked on. And soon it'd be time for the lads from the yard, with a bit of careful navigation, to get me down the road and into the harbour so I could explore the Pembrokeshire coastline, but most importantly, the Cleddau.
Milford Haven's always been a busy trawler port, but it's quieter times now, mostly just foreign vessels landing, and there's a few boats working out of Milford. And that's where I bumped into an old friend of mine, Stevie Hockin. I hadn't seen him for some 20 odd years, and he was just about to embark on a very important trip.
This is a bit of nostalgia for you, really, isn't it? I mean,
taking a boat home, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
how many years ago was it that you actually owned her then?
1982, I think it was when we sold her. 82, 83. sold
Now
it.
what's the plan now?
Well, Vernon's bought it, my brother, and he intends to turn it into a yacht. A couple of masts up and sails, and that's it.
And where are you off to today?
Appledore.
Taking her back home?
Back to North Devon, yeah, that's it. Yeah, 1978 we bought her originally. Taking her home now.